Hi, this is Morby. Welcome back to my channel. We're at a place where I spent a lot of time in my formative years in my 20s. We're at Perkinson Properties here in Mesa, Arizona, and we're gonna spend some time talking to one of my favorite investors and also one of the most wonderful human beings I've ever met in my entire life, Danny Perkinson. I worked with Danny as his transaction coordinator at Treehouse Realty, and then I kind of became his right-hand woman. I had a lot of fun, learned so much. He was instrumental for getting me where I am today, so let's go ahead and go on in and meet him. So I'm here with one of the favorite, well, I should say my favorite people that I've ever worked with, and one of my favorite investors. And this is really funny because I kind of wanted to leave you to the last, but for some reason I decided just to ask you right now. And this has been a really nice reunion to see you.
Thank you. I love having you here, and
Yeah.
I love you. I just want you to know
you
how
too.
much I love you, and I appreciate you reaching out. And we had such a good time working together, and
We really did.
It's a cool reunion.
We really did.
100%.
Yeah, and it's really nice. And Vanessa's standing over there. We
Yes,
love Vanessa.
love her.
And so it's super, super, super nice to be here. I want to ask you so many things, but I wanted to touch on, people are super interested in the journey of where people come from, and I feel like you've lived a million lifetimes. But I think one of the most interesting things is, well, there's so many interesting things about you, but I think that we should start at what you were doing before I met you. So you were doing work with Invitation Homes. Can you tell everyone a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of ironic. Where we're sitting right now is kind of the beginning of Invitation Homes. Prior to being Invitation Homes, it was 3 individuals that came together to form Treehouse Group.
Yeah.
And I was actually officing right behind me here, and watched them kind of do their thing. And at that time, I was actually in the construction industry, building communities, residential communities, and doing small commercial remodels. And so as that whole movement happened, it was one thing led to another. And initially, they'd reached out to me to help on the rehab side of things.
Oh.
And that was about in 2012. And right about that time, at the beginning of 2012, I decided to go full-time traditional resale real estate.
Yeah.
Because I was doing a hybrid approach. Back in the day, there was not a lot of construction work going on from 9, 10, 11. And so I was doing traditional resale real estate on the side. And 2012 decided, I'm full bore in the residential real estate game. And so it took me quite a few months to finally get in the door with them, and eventually started doing acquisitions for them here in Phoenix. Helped them source a number of their first initial acquisitions.
Yeah.
And then after that first wave of acquisitions, we ended up joining forces together, and that's when we met. Right.
I know.
I brought Perkinson Properties at the time, was how we were branded my whole crew underneath the Treehouse umbrella, and started Treehouse Realty.
Yep.
And fortunately, you came into my life and were a huge blessing. We were, like oftentimes I do. When I go at something, I go all in. And we had 3 offices that we opened all at one time.
Yeah.
Recruited 100 agents within that first year, and
Wild.
You were one of those, and thankfully you were there to help keep the pieces together and the bus moving forward. So.
That's so cool. I actually had heard your name before, and how I had heard it is I was doing short sales at the time, and Jordan Nielsen, who worked for you, every single time I would list a house, without fail, he would send me an offer, and he would follow up 6 to 8 times, to the point where I was like, who is this Jordan Nielsen guy? And will he leave me alone? Like, I'm not going to sell it to you. This is like super low, So people might not know this, but you're a real estate family. So how did you kind of know how to attract people like Jordan? How did you know how to underwrite deals that would be a good price for Invitation Homes?
Yeah.
Did they give you a buy box? Did they give you any direction? Or were you just like, I'm going to find you deals, and I'm going to start figuring out how to build a team to do all of that, to follow up with people like me 6 times and send me offers? So.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. A lot of it was just on the fly. Was there a buy box? Yes, it was very wide and very big and very broad. At that time, it was buy anything and everything we can at certain, obviously there was a buy box with certain cap rate criteria, et cetera. And so, yeah, the way we had set it up was kind of an assembly line approach. I had a main underwriter who actually wasn't here. He was based out of California. He had his rhythm and routine. He would go surf in the morning and then underwrite everything that hit the MLS that day, and then would identify which properties hit the box. And to answer your question about Jordan Nielsen, who I absolutely love, Lister
Yeah.
Pros, huge shout out to Lister Pros. That guy is on point. So he and I actually had gone to school together, and I met
No
him
way.
at the Albertsons on Val Vista University. Me being me, he was bagging groceries, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he had just moved here from Dallas or somewhere, and we started talking. I'm like, "You want to go on a snowboard trip like this weekend?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, sure." So we went on a couple snowboard trips together, and then we ended up actually being in the MTC together.
No way.
Yeah, randomly for a few weeks, and then he was working at the bank right next to our office, right here on Val Vista or Greenfield and McKellips, and I ran into him right about the same time we started doing acquisitions, and I really needed bodies that were on point on follow-ups. So what's interesting is I had 3 agents that were doing follow-ups, and I added him as a part-time agent into the mix because he was still full-time at the bank, and he was outperforming every single one of the other 3 agents.
I was just going to say, was he your superstar?
Oh,
I don't even know if he was.
No, 100% he was a superstar. Yes, absolutely. And, it took me a few months of poking and prodding and, convincing him to leave his nice cush corporate job at Wells Fargo. And by the time he had actually left, the funds started slowing down on the acquisition side, and that's actually what made the pivot and transition for him to kind of start Lister Pros. So, but yeah, it was quite the process to figure out. I mean, it was like building a plane while we're flying it because it was so many moving parts, and it was a new asset class being formed in front of our eyes. So.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm misspeaking because I didn't realize what was truly going on at that point, but I feel like you were one of the only people at that time who was mining the MLS and sending offers and following up and calling and saying, hey, this is my buyer, this is who I represent. If you have anything, send it my way. And now that's really common, but that was so long ago. That was over a decade ago.
Yeah.
How'd you figure out that was even a thing, or that you could do that, or that it would work?
Mm-hmm. So I was one of 3 brokers at the time that was doing that for Invitation Homes, and that was really part of they would give us time slots within MLS. So if the properties hit the market during certain time slots, we were assigned those properties, and those were our properties to be Johnny on the spot with and follow up on. And we just built a pretty streamlined process around it of making sure that we got offers out on every property that hit, and then the follow-ups is where, that's really where, you shine in that type of a environment where it's high volume and high competition.
Yeah.
Is you got to be Johnny on the spot with the follow-ups.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Jordan was a great person.
Amen. He still is a great person.
Yeah, he
Love
is.
that
He
guy.
truly is.
Yes.
I think about sometimes like how fast Lister Pros took off, and he was just a smart guy.
Very smart guy.
Yeah, he
Very
really
smart
is.
guy.
That's so cool.
I've learned so much. We've learned so much. A lot of the processes that we implemented today have come from, there was a short stint where he actually helped us when we were doing acquisitions for Progress for a short time right before COVID hit, and he helped implement a lot of the processes that we still use today. So,
Yeah, he's good at automating.
very good at automating.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would say one of the best people I've ever met.
I would agree with that statement.
Yeah, he is. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So let's dive into you and I working together. So I feel like how you and I ended up working together, I came because Andrew Hawks told me he was there, and he was like, this is a great place, great people, you should come. And I honestly came just to hang my license. But how I ended up working for you, you didn't even really hire me. You probably didn't even, it was Ryan. So Ryan asked me to help out with TCing. So what made you want to keep me, or what did you see in me that you were like, hey, like, let's, see what she's got?
Because you were Johnny on the spot in
Oh,
every
thanks.
aspect of the word. You anything we threw at you, you would dig in and you would tackle it. And that was at a time in my life where I had so much going on. I was in the middle of, I think I had 5 kids at that time under the age of 8.
Yeah.
So I had a lot going on at home. I had a lot going on in another project, which you actually helped with some of the sales on at Clubhouse Village. That was a project I was working on with my dad that came out of the ground at a tough time back in 09, 10, right when the market was kind of pausing. And so, anything we ever threw at you, you would take it, you'd run with it, not only on the TC side, but then you were also, helping, connect us with other investors and other people you had worked with. So you added so much value to, our organization and helping, with the different offices that we had. We had one in Old Town Scottsdale, and then we officed actually at the other end of this building.
Yeah.
But your ability to take a lot of things coming at you and organize them and be efficient and proficient with working through all the different moving parts, which this business that's what it is. It's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of touch points. It's a lot of communication. That's the other big thing with you is you're an incredible communicator. And over communication in this industry is crucial and key. Yeah. And the other thing I absolutely love about you is every single client that we ever had, you made them feel special. You made them feel like they mattered, and that's what matters in this business. It's really what matters in life, right? Is relationships at the end of the day, and you understand how to handle relationships, how to manage them, and above and beyond that, be able to do your job as a TC, and way more that you did. You were way more than a TC. So initially, it's what kind of got you in the door, and then you really were my right-hand gal. You were my Vanessa before Vanessa came in my life. And so
I was going to say, I know someone else who's like that, and she's right here.
Yes, 100%. I always need someone like that to keep all the pieces kind of put together.
Yeah. So I have to ask you, because people ask me all the time about running a brokerage, and here we are sitting at Perkinson Properties. So you're still running a brokerage. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on running a brokerage that's more focused on investor activities versus a brokerage that's more focused on hiring and attracting people that work with retail buyers and sellers?
Yeah, that's a great question. And in fact, I'm constantly in this mode of, because the brokerage itself, running a brokerage is a tough business to actually generate or make any money unless you're at like a super large scale. So we're very much a boutique shop where, my whole thought process has always been, we really more operate as a team. We're a small boutique team of sorts that, I've got my fingers into a lot of different avenues of funnels, so to say, or verticals in the real estate space. We do quite a bit of commercial over these last couple of years. I've transitioned over to really building out a commercial presence and a platform. But what I found is this traditional resale world has always been my baseline, steady Eddie. It's always been what has kept the doors going and open, and it's really been what has helped me build this company. And so, but I've learned through the School of Hard Knocks that really the key to success for us has been finding a good core group of people that can collaborate together, that communicate together. And right now, what we're really focused on is people that can be consciously connected with one another. And as you create a business that operates with love and unity and respect and understanding, you really can create these synergies to where my whole mantra right now is less is more, right? It's creating a program where you have less touch points, then you have more efficiencies.
Right.
And it's definitely there's no easy way to do it. There's no, secret sauce, so to say, other than learning how to collaborate and communicate with one another and really be good at being open with one another and being forgiving with one another and being willing to, hey, when you make a mistake, call it out. Hey, it's my bad. How do we fix it? And let's move on. And so, the brokerage has been something that has always kind of, at certain times in my career, weighed heavily on me, but it's also been something that has opened up so many opportunities for people like you to come into my life, and for people like the countless others who have come into my life that have not only been agents, but have also been agents that have been able to open up opportunities with certain clients that have helped us be able to continually have a consistent flow of revenues, whether it be in the traditional resale world, whether it be in the SFR world, institutional SFR, which turns on and off rapidly, and it's I've found that you kind of have to have a steady Eddie, which has really been this traditional resale world for me. But it's been fun to be able to be with me and my personality of ADD, being able to be involved in a number of different avenues of this real estate world has been quite the journey for me.
It's been fulfilling, I'm sure.
It's been fulfilling.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you brought up two things I wanted to ask you. Like, that's so funny. I want to take apart two of those things, because one of the things that I wanted to ask you that I've noticed about you is I feel like, I don't want to say it's destiny, and I don't know if it's destiny or it's just that, like, the market needs like a strong person from the Perkinson family to come and be a retail agent. Like, the public wants you, like, whether like you want to take listings and help buyers or not. Like, that's one thing that I've noticed is people always want to hire you. So do you feel like it's your destiny keep pulling you back into the retail side of things, whether you want it to or not? Or do you feel like it just is something that you're going to have to do, and maybe you're going to have to get like Cooper or something, like, hey, you're going to help all these buyers and sellers, because we need someone from the family who's going to take them on, because I don't know why, but they keep coming to me.
100%. I love that you brought that up, and I am a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, and I've always lived my life by that. That, you know, I just kind of take what comes my way and I run with it.
Yeah.
And yes, I do feel this like universal pull of
Always
coming back to to my roots, which is because at my heart, like, I'm a connector, right? Like, what brings me the most amount of joy is connecting with people and helping people connect within themselves. And the traditional resale world really provides that opportunity for me to be able to have a meaningful impact on people's lives, to connect with people. And so, yeah, I mean, the other part about it is it's been a, you know, an up and down, ebb and flow experience for me, because traditional resale is very tasking, right? I mean, it's day, night, every moment, every waking moment, like continual. And I've lived that way for so many years. And, you know, having a young family with a lot of things going on, nights and weekends are tough to be away from your kids and your family and constantly on call. And so I've always, you know, part of me has resisted it, but yet at the same time, I'm so grateful for it, because it's been what's provided for my family, and it's been what's provided the opportunity to be able to build the business that we have and connect with the people that we have and create a community around what we have. And so I'm really in this mode right now of just being grateful, because gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership.
Yeah.
And when you're grateful and when you learn how to ascend your energy out of your lower energy centers and operate from your heart, you actually open up and you're in a place to be able to receive whatever it is you're supposed to do here on the earth. Because I'm also a firm believer in destiny and in, you know, there's certain things that happen at certain times for a reason.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm in that place now where I'm open to it. And it's funny you bring up Cooper. This weekend, actually, I went to an open house and there was some massive miscommunications, and I showed up and the house was completely not ready for the open house. And then I had clients there and I was running around scrambling, and it was one of those moments where, because I've really taken a step back on the traditional resale side of things. And as I jumped back in to help on an open house, I realized how, you know, there's some systematic, you know, flaws in our program that need to be retooled.
Yeah.
And instead, you know, the old Danny would have been, you know, mad and frustrated and all worked up. But I actually looked at it. I'm like, you know what? This is a great opportunity for me to, because I had called Cooper. I'm like, hey man, I need you to help me put up some of these signs.
Nice.
And he showed up right at the time where I was basically shutting it down because it wasn't ready. But it gave me a time to work with him, and I had this aha moment of like, wow, what an awesome time for me to be able to spend time with my boy, show him slowly, which I've never been able to do because I've just constantly been so wound and fast. And that's definitely a flaw of mine, because, you know, I just expect people to think, you know, understand what I'm thinking. So I'm in this mode of really taking the time to train Cooper, and then my younger boy, Cole, you know, we're going to get back out and start knocking on doors in my neighborhood and start reconnecting with people, because I've found that, like, those connections is really what gets me going, right? It's what makes me feel like I'm really adding value to society.
Yeah. Speaking of connections, the other thing that I wanted to bring up is working for you was probably the best time of my life. Were we busy? Were there some long days? Sure, but that was so much fun, and I attribute it a lot to you and the people that you attract. You attracted some of the best people I've ever met in this, not only in this industry, but just people in general. So what are some of your tips for hiring people, and what are some of your red flags?
Great question. So tips for hiring people. Make sure you get a second set of eyes. You know, make sure that you have someone else sitting there with you. A lot of the people that have kind of come and gone have been, a lot of it has been a reflection too of my energy. So there's certain times in my life where I've been radiating a good, positive, uplifting energy, and other times where I've been in this like nervous Nelly, anxious mode. And I have really come to understand and really appreciate and really feel very strongly about this concept of the law of attraction, right? So, being good with you and who you are and what you're doing, and that's really where I've been. The mode I've been in right now is really this calibration mode of really going inward and really figuring out, okay, who am I? What's my purpose? What's my focus? And what type of people do I want in my life? And as I've visualized that, as I've learned how to tap into this mode of visualization and manifestation through meditations, it's been fascinating to see people just come into my life that are perfectly aligned with what it is that I'm needing.
Yeah.
So, I think that's probably my best tip for hiring is like, don't force it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we force things out of necessity or need, or, when we're worried or worked up, and that's all left hemisphere of your brain, analytical thinking. I think a lot of times when you're thinking too much about it and you're analyzing it too much, instead of just feeling it and allowing things to happen as they may.
Yeah.
That's been where I always kind of realized that I've maybe made the wrong decision on a hire or whatever, is because I was forcing it out of what I felt was the need at the time.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you, because one of the things too, it's not just about the people that you hire, but it's the company culture that you've created. And it doesn't matter where you go or, what the name is that you're under, Treehouse or Perkinson Properties. You make everyone feel like family. So is that something that you always want to maintain no matter how far you scale, or have you seen it? Like, how do you decide? Because, people come and go, and you learn to love them, and they're a part of what you're creating and what you're building. So how do you, number one, maintain the company culture? And is it something, I feel like your culture is that you just make people feel like family. Maybe I'm wrong, but are you going to continue to keep that as you continue to grow and scale?
100%, absolutely. I really do look at everyone in our organization as family, and our big thing is it's really based on love, and it's loving people for who they are, being open to them and their differences. I'm a huge believer in diversity. I love diverse people. I love diverse backgrounds. I love having people that come from different parts of the world and different areas, and I'm a big believer in culture. I'm a big believer in infusing people with positivity. And we've a lot of us in our age group have been raised in a way and in a world where positivity wasn't always the motivating driver, right? And so I know what it's like to feel the negative vibes and negative energy and doing things out of a necessity or out of having to do it, duty, as opposed to doing it out of passion, right? And so creating an environment where people can come and feel warm and welcome and loved, and like they are able to be themselves and operate in the manner of who they are, and how they how they can be who they want to be and how they want to be it, as long as it fits within that realm of, hey, we're lovers, right? We're lovers. We're grateful for everything that comes our way, even if we show up to an open house and nothing is put together. Hey, everyone has bad days, everyone has miscommunications, and
it was a beautiful natural learning moment
for
you and your
that's
oldest
it.
son.
It literally did.
Yeah.
It led to like an incredible day. Like I look back on that on Saturday, and although it started off nowhere near what I was anticipating or so really wanting to do inside my heart, I was like, whatever, it is what it is. And so that's the type of culture. And yes, I will always be one that treats people as family, because I just love everybody. There's no reason to not love people, because it's the ultimate. That is the most powerful emotion in the universe. It's what created everything that we have. And so that's my big motivation and driver for doing what I do, is to help people feel loved and appreciated and highlight their their talents and skill sets.
Yeah. I was thinking that too. You're really good at finding something that somebody might not even notice about themselves and letting them utilize that talent and growing it. And how do you feel then also knowing that a lot of the people that you help and you bring up and you give opportunities and you teach are going to leave and go do their own dreams?
Yeah, no, that's been, that's actually, it's funny you bring that up too, because I've actually been in this mode of talking about that right now. I mean, I want everybody to fulfill whatever it is their, dreams are. And again, because I'm a believer in everything happens for a reason, timing is different for everybody. And so, if people come in and I'm able to train them and they're able to go off and do their own thing and be successful, awesome. It makes me happy. It makes me happy for them. It makes me happy for myself that I've been able to be, some level of an impact in their life. Hopefully it's been positive, right?
Well, you've been a massive impact on my life.
Well, I appreciate that. That makes me happy, like happier than you can even imagine, because that's really what my end goal is. And, I'm in a mode right now of really trying to find like a core nucleus of people. In the past, I have been so not sure of what I'm doing and where I'm going, and so I've kind of vacillated amongst a number of different things. And now I really do feel confident that I've got a core group of people and homies that see the vision, believe in what we're doing, and truly want to be consciously connected in their own lives, creating this union between their heart and their minds, and bringing their souls together with their bodies.
Yeah.
And that concept of being consciously connected, when you create an environment around yourself here in the office, and then internally, within yourself first and foremost, then you're able to go out and impact so many people's lives, especially in the residential real estate world when there's so much emotion.
Yeah.
There's so much. I mean, it's the largest transaction of most people's lives.
Yeah.
And in order to be there for them and to be grounded and to be a support and to be a professional and to do all the things that you need to do to help them through that process, you got to be consciously connected.
Yeah, that is true. I feel like I want to ask you so many more questions about that, but I want to get into something else that I really love about you, and then I want to get into your future plans. But first, I want to touch on your family. Out of everyone that I've met in this industry has a personality like you, you're a driver, you're a visionary, you're going out and you're making things happen. You have one of the most healthy marriages and some of the best relationships with your kids. Are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted part of me was like, maybe I should ask if Danny and Casey would do it. But then I know also someone brought up to me that a lot of times your partner didn't necessarily sign up for this life and doesn't necessarily want to be put on camera and ask personal questions about themselves. So maybe a lot of these should be directed towards Casey, but speaking from your side as a person who's out there, who is, gone a lot on weekends and nights when you don't want to be. I know you're more present than you used to be because you used to have to hustle to make things happen, especially when times are hard. What are some of your tips as an entrepreneur, as a person who is out there, not the one who's holding it back down at home? How do you maintain the connection? How do you, is it just that you married the right person, or is there something that you're actively doing each day?
100%. Well, I can tell you with 1,000% certainty that I definitely married the right person. Because
I know. Casey is like my dream woman.
Casey she's my everything, right? I mean, she's the rock of our family. She's the rock of my life, first and foremost. And it's not an easy task, right? To keep things going. And I give her so much props and so much credit to live through the whirlwind and roller coaster rides of emotions that I've been on, ups and downs, high peaks and low valleys. But to answer the question on how you maintain it is it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of going within yourself to really see yourself for who you are and how you're projecting yourself. And one of the keys for us has been getting to a place where both of us feel grounded and solid on our own. Because there were many years in my life where or our life where, you know, my emotional stability and support was very much dependent upon her.
Right.
And I was leaning heavily on her, and she had everything else going on at home, which is what allowed me to be able to go and, you know, slay the dragon and do everything I needed to do on the work front on a daily basis. But gratitude and expressing gratitude and expressing love and understanding their love language and not assuming that it's the same as yours, because it very
Probably
rarely
isn't,
it is, right? And being able to like really be intentional of giving that and expressing that love and appreciation and gratitude on a continual basis has been the key to our success. And I mean, I'm so lucky to have Casey in my life, because she is one that has, like I said, I mean, wow, she's lived through a lot of ups and downs. And so, you know, it's not easy for anybody, but I feel like it's a lot easier for me than most because of the woman that I married. But yeah, I mean, so that with her, but then also with the kids too.
Yeah.
Being intentional and focused and connected with your kids is so important on a one-on-one basis. And I've learned, you know, I've got the array of the spectrum of kids, you know, it's 16 down to 3, and, you know, being a father to my 3-year-old versus being a father to Cooper and Cole and Polly, you know, they got a little bit more of the brunt of the uptight, anxious, nervous Nelly dad. But what I've learned is our kids are here for us to teach us how to be conscious.
Yeah.
Because in order to connect with a child, you have to be connected with yourself first, or else it's just a whole bunch of white noise.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's been many years in my life and in my marriage where I'd come home from work after a stressed out day, and, you know, kids want your attention and need your attention and need your love. And it's, you know, when you're not in a conscious state, it's really hard to hear them and connect with them and, you know, help them with whatever needs that they have. But it's so important to because when you're able to do that for each one of your kids, that lightens the load off of your wife, who's been with them the entire day. And right from when they get home from school, from 3 o'clock till 6 o'clock, those are some very, very intense hours. And so to be able to come home and understand the importance of being home for dinner and being there and present from, you know, that's kind of been my jam and routine, is I try to be there from 5:30 till 9. And then if I got to come back to the office from 9 until midnight or all night, if I need to sometimes, like, I do that, right? But being very, you know, creating like some boundaries around, you know, when you're there and when you're present has been super important for me. It hasn't always happened. It's been very tough because we've scaled nationally. We've got a national presence on the East Coast, and I've, you know, done a number of ventures, bought a bunch of houses in Houston back in, you know, 2018, 19, and you know, so there were a lot of times where I was traveling a lot. But in today's world, FaceTime, it's amazing. Just to FaceTime with them and connect, right? The ability to be able to connect with your kids and your wife on a regular basis has been kind of the key to success for us.
Yeah. That's so interesting, because when you become a parent, there's no parent handbook, and obviously you have the example of your parents, and then Casey has the example of her parents, which I've been lucky enough to meet both sides. But what you guys have truly created with your kids is really beautiful, and it's really beautiful to watch.
Thank you so much.
And there's a lot of things too, like one of the things I wanted to say, which people probably don't know unless they follow Casey, is Casey does something that I think is really cool, because you have a big family, but she will take the kids on one-on-ones, and I think that is like probably one of the most impactful things that she could do, and it's 100%. Really special.
I agree.
I love to see it. The other thing that I want to talk about that you brought up inadvertently is, how do you take care of yourself? Because we're talking, you're the breadwinner, you're out here, you're responsible for a lot of other people's livelihoods, and that's a really weird thing to think about that people don't realize, but you know, you put food on a lot of people's table by you showing up and being here and creating things and chaos and making things happen. And then you go home and you're present, and then maybe you have to come back. So how do you take care of yourself? Because one thing I have noticed is that you always do take care of yourself physically, and I think you've been working on the mentally and spiritually journey lately, but how do you make time and allow yourself to feel okay doing that? Because you got a lot of people that need you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for me, it's been, my mom ingrained this in my brain a lot of, early to bed, early to rise, right? The early to bed part, haven't really figured that out quite yet. I've been getting better at that.
Yeah.
But, being up whenever you can. For me, it's been early mornings, 5:30. I got to get up. I got to get my head right. I got to get my mind right. Most recently, over these last couple of years, you're right. The physical side has always been the way that kind of kept me going. The gym, finding time to go get in the gym, even if it's not the greatest workout. At least I'm there, and I'm getting the blood flowing and getting my mind in a place where I can think about, okay, what do I got to do today? How do I tackle the day?
Yeah.
But most recently, over these last couple of years, I've realized the importance of slowing down the mind through the practice of, well, initially it was yoga. I broke my back 4 years ago at Lake Powell, and ever since that time, that was kind of my low point in life. Through that experience, that led me to yoga, the practice of yoga, and through the practice of yoga, I've learned how to find my breath. So yoga and breath work, which then led me to meditation, which has helped me to understand how to turn on certain parts of my brain when I need them, the analytical brain being the left side, right side being more the visualization, imagination, and creation side. And as I've, dedicated time, it's been tough. I mean, it's hard to, time block to go and do that, but it's been so important and so crucial. And the relationship that I have with my wife and her, understanding, and both of us understanding that we both need time for our own selves to stay in a good place mentally, because, that whole connection of mind, body, and spirit is so important.
Right.
And so, again, yoga, breath work, meditation, and then at the gym, the last couple of years, I've really gotten into sitting in the sauna and stretching, like the importance of stretching and breathing in a sauna has been amazing. Came across Wim Hof the last couple of years, which introduced me into the ice bath world. And so most recently, over the last 8 months, I decided to just make it all simple and bring it all into my office. And so we, converted our warehouse into the Zen Den, where we do all 5 of those activities. And I get into a routine. Most times I'm here at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm, meditating, stretching. Well, first I stretch, do some yoga poses, and then I, meditate for a little while, and then I get into the sauna and I breathe, and then I get in the ice bath, and then I'm ready for the day.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been, what I've done to keep some level of sanity in this brain of mine, which, believe me, there's still quite a bit of time where there's some insanity going on, but try to bring it back around. And the key to all of that, which I have found, has been being able to find my breath.
Yeah. When you talk about the breath, a lot of people, maybe someone watching this has never done yoga, never meditated. I struggle with panic attacks, and when I went to therapy for it, because, you take Xanax or you go to therapy, and I did not want to take Xanax, they were like, have you tried breath work? And I was mad. Like, I was like, seriously, that's your coping mechanism? Like, I could have just gone on YouTube, and I was so bothered. But just a basic box breathing, and practicing that throughout the day to where then when you feel one coming, you can do that. Like, almost completely got rid of panic attacks, which then kind of made me mad that I got mad about that, because it was like, it's something that's so simple that can make such a huge difference. So I know it works. And so for someone who hasn't had a traumatic injury like breaking your back, or, doesn't suffer from panic attacks, what would you recommend people start with? Okay,
I love that you're bringing this up, because this is where I get super excited and super
passionate. I'm excited.
Because the fact of the matter is, and we were talking about this with Rob beforehand, that we as Westerners and as, European and Western culture, we're a bunch of mouth breathers. We all breathe through our mouths. That's actually why the Hawaiians call us haulis. That means mouth breather.
Oh.
Yeah. So when you breathe through your mouth, or even if you're breathing through your nose, but in a smelling sensation, that's slow, shallow, or low, shallow breaths, it triggers the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight, flight, fear, stress, anxiety, right?
Oh.
Sound familiar?
That's not
right?
great. Yeah.
I know, right? Not great. That's how I've lived the vast majority of my life, right?
Yeah.
And when you're mouth breathing, your left hemisphere of your brain is on fire, right?
Yeah.
It's constantly going. You're constantly thinking. You're in fight or flight mode. Whereas when you breathe through your nose and you open up the back of your throat and you really do a diaphragmatic breath, it's a powerful, calming breath. And what that does is that takes you out of fight, flight, fear, stress, anxiety, and immediately takes you into the parasympathetic nervous system, where rest and digest part of the nervous system, and where you can find true peace and joy and happiness and amidst whatever madness is going on around you. And so that would be my most basic, simple advice is, and in yoga it's called the Ujjayi pranayama. I call it the Yahweh breath because you actually audibly make that sound. On the inhale, it's Yah. And on the exhale, it's Way. Yahweh is the name of Jehovah. Yahweh in English means I am. So in order to truly come to know who you are, you simply need to just change the way you breathe. And as you change the way you breathe, then all of the chatter in the mind, the second guessing, the negative speaking, which we all do to ourselves all the time, constantly talking down to ourselves, that's what creates those panic attacks, or that's what creates those, even if you don't have panic attacks, when you're in a stressful state, I would just say pay attention to whether or not you're breathing, first of all, because a lot of times
hold
you're
your
not.
breath.
And so just start noticing, okay, how am I feeling? Am I feeling stressed? Am I feeling nervous? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling lack of self-confidence or lack of self-control? Any of those normal feelings that we all feel, just ask yourself, can I hear my breath? Oh, no, I can't because I'm not breathing, or I'm shallow breathing. And then just open up that airway. So it's in through the nose, opening the back of the throat on the inhale, Yah, and on the exhale, Way. And such a massive difference in your life. It's instantaneous. It's like immediate. And you know what people don't realize is you're actually, when you're breathing that way, you're creating nitric oxide. Nitric oxide triggers another chemical called EDRF, which creates blood flow to your heart and actually converts your heart from being in a drawing energy state to a giving energy state. It actually opens up and allows you to create a union between your heart and your mind. So
that's so interesting, because when I have panic attacks, I do notice that I'm like holding my breath, or I'm breathing really like fast and shallow. And then it, like a couple times I was like, I need to call an ambulance. Like I can't breathe. I'm dying. Like I honestly, it feels like I'm dying. And practicing breath work will, like within 5-10 minutes, I'm like, oh, I'm okay. Everything's fine. I don't need to call an ambulance. I'm gonna be fine. So I know that's really extreme and not everyone has panic attacks, but it does make a huge difference. And it is interesting too to think about practicing it in the morning or just practicing it here and there, because then you can remember. Because a lot of times when you're going through something like that, you're not thinking like, hey, I should work on a couple of like the breath work exercises that I have. You're just like, I gotta fix this, and you're running through your day and you're dealing with something crazy. And so it's always a good reminder to take a second.
100%.
So,
Well, yeah, and starting your day off that way, like you said, it's kind of the foundation. And then throughout your day, when you're not in those uptight, stressful modes, it's being intentional of, okay, am I breathing with my diaphragm, right? But then when you are in those uptight, tense modes, well, I mean, you're in those modes for a reason, right? You got to get things done and whatever. But there's a point where it's too much, right? And in those moments where you're feeling like it's too much, just that trigger of, oh, can I hear my breath? Just that simple question, can I hear my breath?
And that's all it takes. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So let's also talk about like where you're going. Like what's your plans for 2023? What's your plans moving forward for the next 5-10 years? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? Where do you want to take your life? I mean, we're all in a choose your own adventure book. So where's Danny's adventure?
Absolutely. You know, my adventure is taking me to this place of conscious connection and creating a culture of that in the real estate space, sharing it with every real estate professional out there, because we're all in a very stressful business.
We're all running around in survival mode.
Fight
constantly.
Or flight, constantly. And man, I wish I would have understood these concepts 15 years ago when I first got going in the business. So being able to like help people in the same mode that we're in understand what it means to be consciously connected, and how, you know, this movement of saunas and ice baths, people are, you know, doing it all the time, and there's a lot of people that are buying them, but being able to be intentional instead of just suffering your way through sitting in a sauna or an ice bath, like helping people understand some different basic exercises that they can do in that space. So, you know, again, creating this culture of conscious connection here in the real estate space. And then, you know, we have, so our main verticals that we're focused on is we have an acquisition platform, the institutional SFR groups in all the major markets. And so that's kind of one of our core focuses. But then really I'm coming back to the basics, coming back to my roots, being grounded, and really revamping this traditional resale world in a way that I've never done it before. Because in the past, it's always been more of a survival mechanism and a means to an end. But I didn't know what the end was. It was because I was in like an uptight, anxious mode all the time. And now that I've kind of found myself and who I am, and, you know, I want to, like, the best way for me to share these life principles with people out there is to be able to interact with them in one of the most stressful transactions of their life. And so, you know, building a team that all operates that way and is able to reach out and connect with, you know, people in this market. And, you know, we're up in Utah as well on the traditional resale side. So we're, you know, we've got a home base here, and then we just opened an office up in Utah. And so to be able to kind of build a solid traditional resale business that is, you know, kind of our steady Eddie and our baseline, and be able to touch a lot of lives through that process and help people learn about these, you know, conscious connection principles and be able to help them, you know, implement them in their lives. And then I'm also putting together a curriculum around this concept because it's so much information, and I get going on it and I can talk for days on it. And so I'm actually going to digitize it into an online curriculum for kids and young adults, like in their 20s and, you know, between the, you know, early 20s and mid 20s, 30, when they're in that mode of trying to figure out where they're supposed to go in life, right? You just got out of the house and you don't really know what to do. And so I'm putting together an online curriculum so that, you know, as I talk to different people about it and, you know, throw little nuggets of goodness at them, there's somewhere that they can go and really, for those who want to, can kind of dive deeper into it, and I can, you know, be more of an impact through that space. And then my ultimate goal, you know, more of probably, you know, 2-3 years out, which we're in the process right now of building this acquisition machine for multifamily.
Oh, nice.
So we're identifying multifamily property owners that have notes coming due that don't want to refinance or can't refinance or whatever, or they're just done managing and there's deferred maintenance and they don't want to put a bunch of money back into it. So we're identifying those types of owners, and we're going to be acquiring those. Initially, we're just going to be, you know, using it as a brokerage machine, helping, you know, different investors come in. But ultimately, I'd like to have our own fund, which I've had in times in the past, to be able to acquire these facility or these complexes, but then to be able to infuse this conscious connection lifestyle in them as we repurpose them and renovate them. Be able to bring them to life in a way where, you know, we train our property managers. We're going to have a vertically integrated property management platform that, you know, our property managers understand and know what it means to be consciously connected. And when
that's a stressful job.
Oh, it's a stressful job, right? And so when they have these, you know, fiery arrows coming at them from tenants who are mad and frustrated and whatever, you know, they understand and know how to regulate their energy and how to regulate the energy throughout their body. There's science behind it. It's no longer like there's real proven science that you can teach people how to ascend their energy and operate from their heart. And when they do that, they are the nucleus of an entire ecosystem of a multifamily complex. And I feel like we can have a meaningful impact on people that, you know, are living in B, C class multifamily, workforce housing type people that, you know, they're in survival mode a lot of times too. And to be able to teach them these principles of, hey, you want a different reality? You can accomplish whatever reality you want. You just need to understand and learn how to move into the right hemisphere of your brain and be still and be present and be in the moment and create whatever reality you want to create. And so, I mean, that's really where my heart and passion and desire is over the next 5 to 10 years, to be able to build a portfolio of multifamily complexes that I look at as not only are they homes, but they also become training grounds, right? Because there's going to be some people that ultimately catch fire and ignite and say, you know what, I don't want to live in this place anymore. I want to go buy a house. Awesome. Go buy a house. That then opens up another room for somebody else to come in and learn some of these same principles in an environment that, these tenants, we're going to create raving fans, right?
Yep.
Because they're going to be like, wow, these owners actually care about me. They're like
truly
teaching me how to live in this way that is really just a manner of happiness. And as they do that, not only are you creating raving fans, you're also creating a platform where you have deferred maintenance that decreases because you have humans that are living there that are in a conscious state and are treating things well and not destroying them. And so that's the vision. And I know it's kind of an out there vision, and there's a lot of it's all in execution, and there's going to be it's an uphill battle on the execution front. But baseline is I'm going to get this traditional resale dialed, continue to source for the institutional funds, and then eventually be acquiring our own multifamily.
That's really cool. I love that you're combining two of your passions. And if I know one thing about you is you will 100% do it. So I can't wait to see it come to fruition, because you're one of the few people that I've met in life that what you think and what you want, you can actually manifest into reality. So it's a powerful skill set.
I appreciate that, but I'm also a firm believer in everybody can do this.
I think so too.
This is something that, again, everybody can do it at whatever level they want to do it at, right? Again, it's really first and foremost is learning how to manage your body, right? Be in control of your body, which is once you're in control of your body, then you can control your reality. And I firmly believe that everyone can do it.
Well, maybe you were naturally gifted it so that you can then learn it and teach and guide.
100%. I feel very much that way. I feel very much like I've been on this journey to come and to kind of come and understand and know who I am and what my purpose is on the earth, above and beyond being a father and a husband and business owner and whatever else. I firmly believe that I have natural talents and abilities to be able to help pull the best out of people, right? I have an ability to connect with people's souls and bring who they truly are out in them, not who they've been domesticated to believe that they are from the physical world experiences that they've had.
I've never done a cold plunge before.
So
can I do
100%.
one for the first time?
Yes.
Okay, in the Zen Den.
In the Zen Den.
Okay, I've always wanted to, and I totally bought a session and I chickened out. Let's do it.
All right, welcome to the Zen Den. I'm going to take Laura through a little bit of the morning routine process that I go through. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up in the meditation room. I'm going to walk you through some of the breathing exercise that I do. It ultimately will help guide you through the sauna and then the ice bath.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the meditation room.
Cool.
Yes.
Wow, I love it.
So here's a little thing of the yoga mudras.
I always do this, but I didn't know what it meant.
There you go.
And it's this one.
And you can sit over there on that side.
Okay.
Hands up, receiving.
Receive energy.
Yep.
Okay.
We go in for 5.5, out for 5.5, 6 times. And then on the 7th breath, we go all the way in as much as we can. And then on the exhale, we hum. Root chakra, sacrum, and your solar plexus. All 3 of those energy centers are the physical world energy centers.
Yeah.
Well, that's also where all negativity, hate, anger, fear, convulsive behavior, reactive behavior, negative energies operate here in the viscerals. All right, so we just finished up our kind of beginning stage of warming up the breath, teaching you that Ujjayi breath and really warming up that diaphragm. So that's the breath that'll help guide you through the sauna and be able to help you last 10 minutes or more, however long minutes you're in there.
Okay. I don't know if I'm going to last 10 minutes. You were in here 10 minutes, right?
It's usually I sit in here for about 30 or so.
Okay. I don't know if I'm going to get that hot. Let's do it.
All right.
Just hang out.
Lay out in there and just breathe.
I feel good. And do you think it's been enough time?
Yes.
Okay, I'm nervous about this part.
How long you be able to last?
Honestly,
right?
if I'm in there 15 seconds like this guy, I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's
I
gonna
think
be
you can do
fine.
more.
Do the same one?
That breath is what will help, because you're gonna get in there and you're gonna be panicky, right? And you're gonna be feeling like you gotta huff.
Okay.
Find that breath.
Okay.
Find that center.
Okay.
Find that connection.
Yeah.
Right? And stay conscious in that connection. And that exhale of
How does it do it?
creates heat.
Okay.
So that creates heat from the inside out.
Okay. I'm so nervous.
Oh, you're on it. You're great.
This is my first cold plunge I've ever done. It's really cool because I booked a cold plunge and canceled, so now I'm gonna do it, and I'm actually gonna do it, and I'm on the spot. A camera's on me, so I can't not do it.
Yeah.
I'm probably hyping it up worse than it is.
You'll be here.
It's gonna be fine. Okay.
And she's going to be, this is cool.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Whoa.
Wow, feet. Feet are so cold.
Nicely done. How long was it?
So that was
30 seconds. Hey, here you go.
Was it
More than
really?
15.
Woo!
That's awesome.
Your feet hurt.
You're awesome. Good job.
Oh, now that I'm out, I'm like, I'm fine. That is so weird because when I was in, I was like, I'm gonna die, but now that I'm out, I'm like 100% fine.
Yeah.
I feel fine right now. I thought I would come out and I would be like mad. I probably did stuff.
And then she went in
That is so
this much times. And then she got out because she's so cool. And I gave her the towel.